DRACOTAIL strategy, seeing them both being utilised with K9s. We've seen Mel on feature quite a few times this season as well. She has done incredibly well at all stages of the game. And then Luke Tyler himself is not a... he's not a stranger to the feature match at all. And like you said, it's a very Luke Tyler style deck. I don't know what he'll think of that afterwards when he watches this back, but I guess we're about to find out and see exactly what kind of spicy techs he may be utilising to kind of personalise these for himself. So the die have been rolled. The all-important player to play that first card is going to be...
I think, based on the facial expressions, I'm going to go with Mel here. Starting with Jokul, summon Izuna, which, when you're going blind, what do you think is happening here? But then there's a potential for the DRACOTAIL to come out of nowhere here, I'd say.
Yeah, I feel either there's one or two outcomes on this one. Number one, Mel has bricked, not nice.
Yep.
And I say bricked, you've still been able to present a Jokul and a Izuna to the field. The flip side of that is that you've opened up everything bar a DRACOTAIL monster. Which is quite annoying. Or you're being very respectful of interactions to protect your DRACOTAIL kind of cards, and you're going to want to go into a Ripper first. So we're going directly into the Ripper. We've already kind of droll checked.
Yep.
It looks like we might try and check for a Imperm, a Veiler, or an Ash, keeping in mind that we do not have Lupus under the Ripper right now, so it is susceptible to being targeted. We're going to be revealing the Holly Sue with the Raisin to summon the Holly Sue down to the field. This is going to be quite interesting because we're going to be chaining the Ripper straight away to not let that Holly Sue resolve, which I think is a great call because you definitely don't want that Holly Sue hitting that field.
I guess following that, where do you think you go from here? Oh, okay. That Izuna there, this is kind of like, it's like almost like checking, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of don't mind if they interrupt the Holly Sue there, because this Izuna is going to be so really powerful, right? Because it's not only really stopping the additional search, but also just stopping that that extra interrupt going back into your turn as Luke.
Yeah, as Luke's about to find out, I mean, I think we're basically just going to be trading Ripper for Ripper.
Yeah.
And this is still really quite good in the sense that I don't know if I would like to think that Luke maybe knows what Mel's on and vice versa at this particular point. As it currently stands, it could be a very, very direct mirror match. But I did see what looked like a Ketu DRAGONTAIL in the hand, so I feel Mel was just being very, very protective here. We're going to be utilising the Ripper effect as search, which I think is a really good option here because, again, when you're trying to use just your Jokul, plus your Izuna is checking everything that Luke is trying to do. And remember, Mel has not used her Lupus in the graveyard, so that can still enter the field of play and still cause an issue for Luke.
And I guess the other thing is like, you can still summon the normal summon the Izuna here as well, right? I believe.
Correct. If your opponent has two monsters in the hand, two cards in the hand, you can.
Yeah. So then I guess that's just like another way to get to another rank 5 option potentially.
This is very good because we've now traded the Ripper, and we still haven't revealed any. I think we're going to see a Ketu. Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
We've been able to trade the Ripper off. The biggest benefit of Ketu is because our opponent controls the monster, you can actually fuse with the card you choose to search.
Yeah.
Which is amazing because it's now going to turn whatever gets searched, whether that be a Lucias, and we haven't even used an also. Oh!
The Ash Blossom and Joris thing. I was going to say, this is like the biggest thing here is if that Ketu does resolve, it feels like it's very, very strong for Mel there.
Yeah, if that Ketu would resolve, we would have been in a very, very good position. But now, we're still going to be able to go for the Lucias. We're still going to be able to get access to the Feymana. Feymana itself will become a Fusion Summon-esque card, which is exactly what we're going to see here. The Feymana is going to get discarded to Fuse. We're going to be using a Fualos, a Lantern, and then the Lucias on the field to go into the Arfulion. We've now got the ability to trigger the effect. Unfortunately, only using two in the hand. We're going to be able to trigger the effect of the Arfulion is going to be targeting the Feymana and the Lucias to add them back to the hand. I can imagine that Chainlink 2 will be the Lucias to set the Rahu DRAGONTAIL, and that's pretty much going to be it. But you still got the Rahu DRAGONTAIL, which is insane. We already know how good this is, because you can use the Feymana as fusion material in the hand now, so you get another set. You'll use a DRACOTAIL monster that you haven't used previously in the deck, which could be something like Pan, because Pan does not target to destroy. We're also going to be presenting another rank 5 to this field, and which is very important that you do this first, because once you activate Rahu DRAGONTAIL, you're going to be locked into fusions.
It just feels like Luke may have even just lost already. It feels like there's so many pieces of interaction that have already been generated on this initial turn by Mel, and yeah, this Rahu resolving, it feels insane. Maybe I'm just wrong.
Yeah, I mean, the Rahu is definitely going to be very, very good here to resolve. We're going into the Glamel. We are going to be utilizing the Urgula's effect in the graveyard, and then I can assume chain the Glamel, but to destroy, we're going to be using... Ooh, we're going to attach the C1? Did we just rank up? Aren't we?
No, I think it's
we just attached the material. Yeah. So attached the material and then absorbed up the Ripper. Very, very good here. Then we're going to be using the Urgula and the Feymana to set a monster return and a spell negate. This is quite impressive. Like, this was all came off of an Azuna plus a Jockle.
Yeah.
And well, of course, we did have other DRACOTAIL cards in hand, but we've been able to see that Luke was on the Vanquish Soul, that Luke was playing the Holly suit. We've been able to take away his Azuna and his Lupus. We've also then been able to take away an Ash Blossom. So now there are a couple of attributes that are now no longer going to be in rotation for Luke to utilize for his Vanquish Soul strategy. We're going to be able to trade our trap card for a draw and a negate, and then trade the other trap card in the form of the Horn for a return and a draw.
Yeah, and I think this is just really, really strong, especially because you are just like removing so many cards from Luke's hand in that initial turn as well. Obviously, we know that there was the Raisin, there was the Hollysu, but beyond that, it's just like making sure the rest of the matchups rest of the attributes kind of match up, right?
Yep.
And I think that's just where Luke's going to struggle here, especially as just like trying to tear apart the rest of this field now.
Yeah, I think one really important thing is I believe the Nationite is still live.
Yes, because there's still 2 XYZ materials, I believe.
Yeah, so still maintain the quick effect during the main phase. Detach 2, attach a number XZs from your extra deck to this card. It has a number between 101 and 107, and then you get to attach a face up. Now, does Mel play any more numbers that she hasn't already used? No.
But
okay, so
is it mandatory to the counter Nationite?
So you're still going to need to attach the number, correct?
Okay.
Yeah. So if you don't attach the number, you can't attach the monster. So Nationite is currently going to be sitting there, but we're going to be returning the Ripheart to the extra deck, chaining the Gomel to attempt to destroy the Raisin. That's a good little trade-off there. Putting the Ketu back to the deck, as well as putting the Ripper back to the extra deck to draw a card, which is very good now, because if Luke summons from the activates the card in the hand, which he has done, we now have direct access to bring the Lupus back from the graveyard and work it into a Ripper, and it looks like Luke is just going to scoop it up and move into the next. Yeah, I don't blame him on that one.
No, I don't at all. I think, especially just after that, like incredible turn 0 almost. Ash Blossom covers that, right?
Yep, exactly that.
Nibiru and Fenrir, I'm not sure I would think so much about, but those first 6 options, being the Phantasmate and the Ash Blossom, I'd definitely consider here.
Yeah. I think the added benefit of targeted protection sometimes can be quite important for the protection against the Vanquish Soul. I can't imagine that Mel gets all the way to round 8 and not gets to round 8 and not have faced Vanquish Soul.
Yep.
On the other side of that, I would feel that Luke knows the canines inside and out. I would also think that he's probably played a few DRACOTAILs, but whether he's faced the hybrid prior to this could be quite interesting to see.
Yeah, so I'm going to assume Luke's here starting, and with the Jockle himself now, paying homage to that game 1 here. And then obviously with the 2 attributes for the Holly suit as well, very, very strong. And with the Raisin and the Mad Love to start this game. And I think this is just a very, very, very strong position for Luke to be in. Yeah,
a very strong start from Luke. Again, this is what the Canines kind of provide with decks like this, is it provides you the ability, as mentioned in one of the previous rounds, to maintain that all-important normal summon. So when you're able to maintain that normal summon, you're then able to, again, kind of steamroll. We do look at the dreaded 3 level 5s on the field.
Yeah.
I would much rather see Luke go into a Ripper on this one, but I feel we may see a Dice Smasher.
It is within the extra deck, so who knows exactly where we're going to go throughout the rest of this turn.
Yeah, I still feel it's very risky, and I think a lot of people have learned from YCS Vancouver to not go straight to a
Dice Smasher.
Smasher, yeah. So going into the Ripper first, definitely applaud that one. I think some players do get a little bit overzealous, and when you see a card as powerful as Dice Smasher, which in turn its effect is very, very strong, a lot of players get drawn to that and go, cool, if I go straight there, that's all I should need.
Yep.
Whereas I think the big difference between players like that rush to it and then players like Luke that is currently navigating around and not using it as a auto win button is it's giving him the ability to present with Ripper, be a little bit more cautious, make sure that he doesn't make Die Smasher and instantly lose or have to pass turn to something like a Ghost Ogre, an Effect Veiler, Infinite Impermanence, and kind of cards along those ilk.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. And I think we're just going to see now if Luke tries to take the option of being a bit more reserved maybe, or based on the rest of the hand, really. I can't see that happening though. But based on, yeah, we'll just see how they want to really proceed through the turn. Luke is on the Pot of Extravagance, so playing multiple copies of different XYZs in the extra deck, as well as Rokov the Vanquisher. So just trying to decide where they kind of want to go really throughout the rest of the turn, and how much wants to be committed to the side of the field where, again, just wanting to respect cards like Nibiru very much, right?
Yeah, I feel you probably want to get the Rock of the Vanquish in rotation.
Yeah,
I think that's quite important. And then if you have that option for another rank 5, the 2 rank 5s that I can see in Luke's extra deck that isn't Die Smasher will be the Chronomaly Vinma, which is a optional kind of like negate on this one. So you've got the quick effect, target face-up monster on the field, and an XE monster or a Chronomaly in your graveyard. That monster on the field gains half the attack. It's kind of a nice little attack boost. But the most important one is when your opponent activates a monster effect, you get a quick effect to detach 2. Now, when effects in regards to the DRACOTAIL strategy isn't that ideal, because the DRACOTAIL strategy can actually chain block very, very consistently and very, very easily. Valon is another valid option on this one. The biggest downside of that one is you're probably not going to want to flip any DRACOTAIL monsters face down. You're probably going to want to save them for the K9s.
I guess that the thought process is right. Valon, maybe putting monsters face down. But it doesn't really matter for the fusion summoning aspects of the DRACOTAIL deck, right? They can fuse, similar to how we talk about with the tributes and the ritual summoning using face down monsters. It's the exact same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're going to see just where Luke decides to go with the rest of the turn. I'm going for a draw here with the Heavy Borger. And I'm quite happy with actually where Luke's got so far, especially with the start still in the reserves, because you'll get the Snow Devil in the end phase, and that is exactly where I want to be as Luke.
Yeah, exactly that. I feel making Ripper as early as it does kind of checks the Feymana, should Mel have that in her hand. Then off the back of that, it does check the Azuna. So it is kind of trading places with some of those cards. It does put Mel in a position where that she will need to open up with Azuna plus a Feymana or Feymana plus Azuna. And then when we're looking at the side deck as well, the other cards that I think Mel may have access to that could cause Luke a little bit of an issue is, again, comboing off Nibiru with an Azuna or a Feymana. I think we're way past the point of a Phantasmo, so that's definitely what happens. A Castria Fenrir could be an interesting choice here, because the Fenrir would at least attempt to trade with the Ripper, attempt to out the Ripper, or force a Holly Sue or a Raising Destruction on that one. Ketu is still incredibly powerful, and it looks like Luke is going to be setting to and passing this field over to Mel.
Yeah, I think either of the DRACOTAIL spells are really, really powerful here, if unchecked. When we're looking through Luke's hand throughout the turn, there wasn't an Ash Blossom, or at least there wasn't a revealed Ash Blossom, right? So it means that both of those spell cards could be incredibly powerful to just ensure that you're kind of just like being able to pick apart the field, which is what Mel really needs to do into this turn.
Yeah, so this is the one big thing as well. Is I feel that if Mel was to activate Ketu or Rahu, and Luke was to respond with a Retaliating Sea, we might see this go straight to game 3. Being able to resolve the Lucias here is going to be quite important. So this is going to get direct access to a Feymana. So probably telegraphs that Mel didn't have the Feymana starting off with. We're going to activate the Ketu. Is there going to be a response here from Luke? This is going to check Retaliating Sea and possibly Ash Blossom, because this is also going to allow Mel to fuse at this point as well.
Okay, so there was no response there from Luke, which, if I'm in Luke's position, I'm quite terrified, I'd say. Like, just to see what exactly is about to happen and what effects are going to come down to try and disrupt my side of the field. Yeah,
I think this Ketu resolving is going to trade quite a bit here. So we're going to use the Feymana in the hand and a Shadol Beast alongside the Urgla. So what we're going to see is we're going to see Chainlink 1 Artheon. Artheon will now be able to target 3 cards amongst the field and the graveyard. I would be amazed if one of them isn't the Feymaner, but also remember the Urgler has the ability to put itself back to the deck and then put the Feymaner from the graveyard back to the hand. So we already have that kind of covered.
Yep.
Arfleon can very easily trade with the Ripper here. It can also very easily trade with the Rock of the Vanquished. The Urgler is going to trade with one of the Spell and Traps and could possibly trade with the Vanquish Soul Start. And then we're going to be setting up these chains so that whatever Ripper could negate is going to be the least valuable to us. So we still have Beast to draw. If Beast is Chainlink 4 in this example, it means Chainlink 5 of Ripper will only be able to negate that randomized draw. And Mel will still get the ability to set 2 DRACOTAIL spell or traps, one of them being Rahu that we haven't seen yet, and we already know how good that card is.
So I think one of the really strong things here is just being able to use the Snow Devil here to... I'd assume that the Urgler is going to try and force that out here. That would be my main assumption. But the Snow Devil, obviously, being able to work towards destroying Mel's side of the field. Again, really key, right? It's just trying to starve some of the fusion materials, although, obviously, the spell cards are incredible in this deck. I think it's kind of what you need. And then also putting a little bit of pressure with the Mad Love there as well.
So was that like Chainlink 6?
Yeah, something like that.
Arfleon, Urgler, Feymaner, Beast, Ripper as 5, and then the Dust Devil was 6?
That's going to be my assumption here, Dale. And I think that's just... I think, from my perspective as well, you kind of need to get rid of that randomized draw as well. Just because, although...
Oh, it looks like Mel did draw.
Oh, okay. So maybe the Ripper was not activated there.
Yeah. We still got to set 2. The Urgler destroyed the Vanquish Soul Start, so we've traded that off.
So if you're Luke here, if you've got the ability to seize a Valius, do you try and go after the spell which is activated? So maybe I'm a bit late on that. But... oh, maybe not. Nope. No. Okay.
Yeah, I think the Rahu is definitely going to resolve here.
Yep.
I do agree with you. I think if you had the Caesar Valius, you'd probably act a little bit early just to get rid of it. But then Mel still has such incredible hand advantage right now. We added back all 3 of the materials we used for the fusion. So our Feymaner is still live. Looks like we're going to be fusing the Beast in the hand. We're going to be fusing with one from the deck. So that's... Oh, Mululu. This is good. So I can imagine we're going to the Gamel. And the best thing is, I believe the Arfleon is in the graveyard. So if Mel wants to, she can bring the Arfleon back from the grave because 2 monsters have been sent to the graveyard at the same time.
There we go.
And by chaining these effects, as the next chain, if Luke does not have anything to do so, we can then utilize the Wen effect of the Gamel to destroy another card on the field.
Yeah, and I really like these types of effects. It kind of pays homage to Thunder Dragon Titan.
Yes.
And that was my first thought whenever I saw this card. I was like, I really like Titan, so maybe I really like this card as well. But yeah, we're going to start seeing some of these cards come back. And I think, unfortunately for Luke, it actually looks like Mel's in quite a good spot here, I'd say.
Yeah, I feel... So we still have access to the Feymaner. We are fusion locked, which in turn will turn off any potential Azunas. We're going to be using Mad Love to try and return the lowest defense on the field, which will be Raisin itself.
But I guess either way, you just kind of want to chain block that card here, right?
Yeah,
that's kind of what you're aiming for.
You definitely want to stop that Gamel from destroying, because that set card is the one card that we don't know what it is. The fact that Luke has tried to protect it is still going to be very, very important here. It looks like we're resolving the Mululu, non-target negation of the Mad Love, bringing back the Artheon because 2 monsters were sent to the graveyard at the exact same time. We've used Ketu, we've used Rahu, we've used our normal summon. We have enough attack stats on the field, and yeah, that hand is crazy.
6 cards left in hand after all of that. I'm seeing the real appeal of this deck now throughout this tournament. I know we've had a couple of rough rounds with it, but maybe this is why Mel is doing just as well.
So here comes the Caesar Valius. So Luke did have the Caesar Valius.
Yeah. How big is the Arfulion?
So Arfulion is a 3,000 attack. It will get banished when it leaves the field.
Okay.
The Gamel is a little bit weaker. The Gamel is only like 28. So the Caesar Valius has the ability to destroy a card here. Oh, Mel's just scooping up. We're going to be going into game 3. Very, very interesting here. and protect from it.
Yeah.
We're going to be seeing it in game 3. I feel that Mel's going first. We're starting off with a cash chair Fenrir.
There's already a Fenrir right there.
That's a great one to be starting off with. No holding back on that. So this is great because what this will do is this will check Luke's, sometimes Holisu, but can also check Luke's ability of access to Azuna and Lupus. So that there is not going to be a very, very easy access to a rank 5 of Luke's choosing on this one. Oh,
is that normal
summon?
That's
a normal summon of Jockle, which you don't want to be doing. It means that there's probably no Moodaloo or access to a Lucas in the hand. In turn, could also possibly mean that there is no access to a Ketu DRACOTAIL, or maybe even a Rahu, but maybe you don't want to fusion lock yourself on this one.
Yeah, it just depends because obviously was the Phantasme used initially? Not sorry, Phantasme. The Fenrir, sorry. To search, was that being held off for now?
I would like to feel Mel's in that position where you wouldn't do that just in case there is a draw around. It does seem that the Ash Blossom on the Jockle is going to be a pass. Oh, activating the Fua straight away. That means it was probably
drawn off the top.
Yeah.
I think that's perfectly reasonable, isn't it? Just in case there's a random 5-mana that may occur.
Yeah,
during this turn.
Exactly that. It will still get Luke some advantage. The other thing I've got to think, so there's an Ash Blossom on the Dr. Madlove. This is a good trade back and forth here. It'll be very interesting to see. I feel that Mel is probably sitting on another hand trap interaction here. Maybe.
Do you decide to use the Fenrir here?
Maybe the Fenrir was used previously to search.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I can't imagine you pass your turn
without doing it right. Yeah.
So maybe that hand is Fenrir plus one other.
Yeah.
We can deter that it's probably not a Lukias, a Moodaloo, a Feymana, or a Ketu, or even a Rahu.
Yeah. So maybe it's one of the Shadow cards that have been located within the list, or one of the larger DRACOTAIL monsters potentially.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, if it was an Azuna, you could have summoned it down with the Jockle.
Exactly.
Even with a Beast, you could have summoned that down with a Jockle.
Yeah,
as well.
that's true. So it does like condense the amount of cards it could be, I guess.
It does make it very, very difficult. Maybe it's a Fur. No, I can't imagine you keep a Fur or a Perulia in. Either way, Lupus is coming. He's entering the field of play for Luke here. No summon from the extra deck yet, so that's not going to be an easy Typhon for sure. We still have Dr. Madlove can turn into Rock of the Vanquish.
I guess the thing's right. The Fenrir hasn't been used yet, right? And I think it just depends really how long that's going to get held on to, because I guess it's quite hard to decide, right? Because I guess the Madlove and the Lupus don't really pose any kind of threat.
No, I think right now there's no way to easily. Like, you're not in a trade-in position.
Yeah.
The Jockle's still quite annoying itself as well, because being 2,000 attack and 1,900 defense, it kind of does trade quite nicely with the Lupus as well, even though Lupus is 2,300. But the Madlove currently can't get rid of anything, and unless we want to use Madlove's effect to reveal the correct attributes in the hand to return a monster with the lowest defense on the field, which would be the Lupus at this particular point, I would imagine you would have done the reveal of the materials before you put Lupus on the field. So, Madlove into Fenrir?
This makes a little bit of sense because it seems like...
Reveal? Are we revealing the dark, or are we using Borga to return? But Borga's return is during the main phase, correct?
I think it might
or is
be
this
a
the
different
Madlove
effect of Madlove.
Dark face-up monsters on you can lose 500 attack and defense. Oh, okay, so he's using that during the damage
step, I guess. Yeah, this is why I value Luke Tyler very highly here. Just
moving into main phase 2, returning the Madlove to the hand, revealing the Madlove to draw a card. If we pass, no, we haven't even passed. Vanquish Soul start. Mel shaking her head there. Yeah, that draw off the top deck is
incredible.
Pretty
really,
crazy.
When you think about it.
Yeah. Pretty crazy. So Vanquish Soul start. I assuming we can add the Razor. We don't even need to add Razor. You can add Holly Sue. You can add Jiaolong.
Yeah, this seems really good. Really.
It's very crazy how fast, with no pun intended, the pendulum does swing in this game. Very, very quickly.
So gonna get the Raisin here. I guess the thing is, maybe there's already the Holly Sue in the hand. Oh, actually, no. You can just make Rock of the Vanquish, can't you? Yep.
Rock of the Vanquish. Grab back whatever you need to, being that Borga. Rock of the Vanquish. summon down from the hand. Yeah,
Yep.
summon down the Raisin.
Get the value.
We're going to get double advantage off the back of this because we're going to use Raisin to get whatever missing attribute we might want. We then also have the ability to reveal the attributes, clear off the Jockle, pretty much leaving Mel with very little to fight back on this one, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think, again, this is just a little bit of more lower to ground, like, value you get from the Vanquish Soul engine, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're just getting these little +1s, and a little bit of interruption here, there, and everywhere. And I think that's just really, really important for how the deck functions, because when it first came out, it was kind of this more, like, mid-rangey sort of deck, right, wasn't it? It had, like, these really unique ways of interrupting compared to several other decks. So I think, again, just seeing it out, it's quite nice for me at least. But we're going to see Bestial Magnum here on the Heavy Borger, which was linked away for the Rocket Vanquisher. I guess this is, again, quite a good start because it means that there will be a dragon on the next turn, right?
Yeah, so this is really good because what the Magnum will do is it will grab you inferior start because it will grab you access to the DRACOTAIL Moodaloo. Yep. So what benefit that's going to give you is you can normal summon down the Moodaloo, use its effect to fuse. That then gives you the ability to kind of go into whatever you want. I would like to say this. I know Mel is not going to do it because I don't believe she has it in her extra deck. But if she went into Borolo Furious Dragon, because you'd have the Magnamoo plus the Moodaloo on the field, that'd be really, really cool. It's not going to happen because the Moodaloo only lets you go into DRACOTAILs, but I just found that quite a funny option. There's also a Druid Swarm that could be searched off the back of this, and in theory, you could search out Pan or Urgler if you so choose. But I feel after seeing the start in hand, the chances of something like that is going to be a lot lower. I feel that we're going to be going for a Moodaloo. Or a Druid Swarm if we want to maintain a bit more field presence.
And again, we're just seeing, like, Luke kind of just continue with emotions, right? Gone into the Ripper now, got the Azuna, and I think it's definitely getting into the kind of game state that really suits the Vanquish Soul deck. Going for, is it Vanquish Soul Rocks?
Yep, going for the brand new Rocks. So because Dr. Mad Love was declared an attack previously, we get to go into Rocks. Rocks gets different effects depending on what attributes it has under it as a material. So now that it has fire, Vanquish Soul monsters that Luke controls gain 1,000 attack, which again is a little bit unorthodox because most people will turn their Rock of the Vanquished into Rocks, and then that means that there is the ability to detach to destroy a card your opponent controls. That's not going to be the case here. And we're linking it off to go into an SP Little Knight. We're going to be banishing the Magnamoo from the field. This is going to go direct for the Moodaloo. This could be the card that unlocks Mel's entire hand, though.
I guess that's kind of like a same situation with the SP Little Knight here, because Luke might be recognizing that that's the piece that Mel needs to get going for a turn, right? And I guess the SP Little Knight kind of trades with the Moodaloo a little bit, right? Yeah,
it will trade with the Moodaloo quite well here because trying to remove that from, like, we already know that there wasn't possibly another DRACOTAIL. So we know the Fenrir is here, which is a good start.
Definitely added last turn then.
Yeah. do we choose to use the Fenrir? Do we try and bait out another form of interaction?
If I'm Mel, I'm definitely just disregarding, like, Drawn Lockbird, right? Completely here.
Yeah, agreed.
So I guess it doesn't really matter if you use the Fenrir or not, and I don't think you go for the battle phase.
No.
And I guess as well, like, I wouldn't instinctively think that SP Little Knight is going to come down and banish that Fenrir straight off because you're going to replace it, right?
Yeah.
So there's no value there. So it just depends if Mel values the battle phase as a resource, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel you definitely use the Fenrir to search because you get that material in the hand.
Yeah.
We know that there's a Moodaloo. What looks like... Oh, we are going to the battle phase.
Straight to the battle phase.
Do we just trade off with the SP now? I suppose if you trade off with the SP, though, it does allow your Moodaloo to resolve in main phase 2.
Yeah, and it's just really... Where does Mel's hand kind of sit, right?
Yeah.
After that ad of the Moodaloo, what's going on next? And here we do see it. Main phase 2 comes straight down.
I think she already has the plan of where she wants to go.
Yep.
So I think there's an Ash Blossom in the hand. We don't know what the other card is. Is it a Fenrir? So we're going to be using Moodaloo and a Lucias. She must have drawn the Lucias for turn. That's
right,
crazy.
Yeah. Do you ever... If you're Luke, I don't know, maybe I'm just, like, reading too much and thinking that's the Snow Devil set.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe it wasn't here. Or there's not enough of the attributes in play. But this Aurelion just feels like it's going to do everything it needs to, right?
Well, I think with the Arfulion, you're probably going to add back definitely. I mean, we've already used our normal summon.
Yep.
You've got to do the chain links correctly because the Ripper is going to negate one of them. Because I can't imagine. So it looks like we've added the Jockle back to the hand. We're going to be setting a Ketu. The Mululu is going to non-target negate the Ripper, and we're going to set the Rahu DRACOTAIL. I'm surprised the Ripper wasn't used
at all
to
there.
negate one of the sets. But I suppose in trade, though, if you do use the Ripper on a new chain, Fenrir then targets the field spell or targets the Ripper and trades that back off.
Yeah, so just really thinking about where Mel's going to go. And if Luke kind of has ways of interacting, because there's only 2 cards in the hand as well.
I mean, if any of those 2 cards is an Ash Blossom can make it awkward, but if it's a Retaliating Sea, could probably make it even more awkward. Even though the Fenrir will trade with it right away, you still have to resolve the Ketu or resolve the Rahu.
Let's see if anything comes down. No, there we go.
Nothing there. Okay, so you can use Fenrir in the hand. I was like, could there be a Retaliating Sea? I would probably use I would use Urgala here, in my opinion, to deal with that unknown. It's about time to find out what the unknown is.
Yep.
You don't need to worry about your Vanquish Soul protections as of yet. We've also got the Urgala to deal with the field spell as well. The Gamel. So we're trading 2 for 1 here.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what it could be, in all honesty. And maybe it's something like Call by the Grave from Luke's side. Or maybe...
I think the Call by probably hits one of the DRACOTAIL fusion materials. It could be a bluff of an Extrav or... I don't know. Why would you set or bluff those?
Yeah, maybe it was drawn off of the Heavy Borger at some point throughout the turn, and just wanting to kind of like think that there's a Snow Devil in play.
Yeah, either that or it is the Snow Devil.
Yeah.
We're not chaining it though, so the Gamel is going to resolve here.
Yeah.
Trading. So we're going to trade 2 for 1.
So
and we still have Ketu in rotation.
And yeah, even if Mel may not have had the most ideal start,
definitely
feels like we're kind of getting there now.
Yeah, very well brought this one back in. It was the Dust Devil.
Maybe there just wasn't enough cards in the hand
there. To get anyone going.
Yeah.
Then kind of questions to what cards does Luke have left in his hand then?
I think there might have been a copy of the Raisin from the beginning of the turn, but yeah, this is... It's kind of swings and roundabouts, isn't it? I definitely thought it was looking like it was going to be in Luke's favour after that really like
that Magnum seems to have just changed the scope of this completely.
Yeah. And I guess it just like screams the power of the Bestial Magnum, right? We've seen it for several years now, right?
Yeah,
just how strong it is. And not in just these dragon type decks, but across the board, even in Luke's deck himself. So
yeah, I mean, activating. So Ketu is going to get you access to your Feymaner. Your Feymaner is now going to be in rotation. We're going into the Secreon Dragon. There we go. Jumble up. This one's. I really like this card right now. This format. I think it's so good. It's not so great into the Vanquish Soul because it's not going to be able to stop them using their dragons and spellcasters. But what it is going to give Mel the ability for is putting a spellcaster or a dragon back to the deck and then summoning back a spellcaster or a dragon. So in this scenario, we're going to be adding back the Mululu to the field, which is great because it now sets up another quick fusion during Luke's turn. We're then going to be able to put the Lucias back to the deck or resolving the Ketu to grab hold of the Lucias as well. So we have so much more resource available to us now.
Yeah, and it's definitely just feeling like, I'd say it just swings, like power swings, and looks like some of these players have just put Mel in a very commanding situation, I'd say, and position, just heading into what probably should be some of the final turns of this game. So I believe the turn is over now, and we're going back into Luke's turn. And it's just, what can be done here? Obviously, there is the Rocket of Vanquisher and the Ripper still available on Luke's side of the field, but what do they really mean?
Yeah,
I don't know how effective they are going into this turn.
Ripper's currently negated because of Mululu.
Yes.
So the Ripper is no threat to Mel whatsoever, apart from maybe declare an attack and then move into Zeus.
Yep.
The trap card along Mel's spell and trap zone is going to trade nicely with any attack position monster that enters the field of play. We still have, if any monster effect is activated by Luke, that Fenrir is lurking, ready to kind of trade off. The Mululu also still has the ability to work its way into the Arfulion or a Gamel. So again, there's a lot of trading to go on back and forth here. I think it's really going to come down to if this prosperity resolves, and if it does, what Luke sees. Yeah. And it's not going to resolve.
It's not there at all. So yeah, the Ash Blossom Joy Spring. quite devastating, I'd say. And I really like that this deck can just keep adding it back and adding it back, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I kind of like hand traps such as like Valar that aren't once per turn, and even DD Crow are incredible in a DRACOTAIL strategy, because being able to use the Arfulion not to just return cards from the field to the hand, but also to return cards from the graveyard back to the hand, it's just pretty insane.
It's just, I really, really like this format, just how all of these cards are. It's not like that I'm making this negate and that negate and this negate. It's all of these really like niche interruptions which they're just generating value, and that's really fun about Yu-Gi-Oh! Just how all of this generated value can equate to something down, what, turn 2, turn 3? Especially with this Fenrir, for example, we've seen how strong it's been.
Interesting on the Fenrir that we chose to target the Ripper. Now, even though it had Lupus as material, remember, it was negated via the Mululu. Yep. And that is going to allow it to kind of still be affected, which is really, really important. That's why Mululu is such a good card in the DRACOTAIL strategy. And then it's for the entire turn. It's not until the end of the turn, so it's from that point on. So anyone that's like, oh, is it Mululu till the end of the turn? No, it's permanent. I am surprised that Rock didn't get targeted there, because I didn't feel that Ripper was really posing that big of a threat.
I guess that the thing with the Ripper being removed from play is that the Ripper kind of, it doesn't pose much of a threat, but it is that XYZ. So it's just like turning off one option for Luke to be able to just go for that battle phase, go for that swing, and maybe Mel just wants to decide if she wants to hold on to like that quick fusion play, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, 100% you wanna protect the Mululu. I completely get that, but I also feel that putting the Lupus back into the graveyard could be quite risky here as well, because we're now going to use the Feymaner. We're going to fuse with the Lucias and the Dragon. We're going to work our way into... Ooh, this is interesting. This is what I like about this. This is how you're going to deal with Lupus. So we're going into the Mysterion, the Dragon, Crown. It can't be used as fusion material, so if Luke plays Super Poly, no bueno. But if a monster uses its activated effect to special summon itself or a monster with the same original type, except during the damage step, you target one of those special monsters and banish that monster, and then all monsters of the same type. So, if Lupus does decide to utilize its effect to summon itself back to the field, this can then trade off and get rid of it. It's basically like another way of a Fenrir.
Yeah, and I just think it's always about generating that extra just like negate or like interruption, right? And although it's like traditionally not negate, it's just like layered interruptions, and I'm really enjoying watching this, especially with some of these cards that we may not have seen from different DRACOTAIL strategies earlier throughout the day. Yeah,
as a duel, this is very good back and forth, and as you mentioned right at the start, two very established duelists. Both of them know the game's inside and out. Luke showing the quirkiness by trying to uncover some of those effects of Mad Love that not many people instantly go to. But then also Mel being a little bit more creative on this one, putting together the DRACOTAIL K9 strategy, but then also being able to utilize the Mysterion, being able to utilize the ability of the Mululu. It really is nicely working here. And we're going to be revealing a Fire in the Dark for the Holly Sue. The Holly Sue is currently targeted to be banished off the back of the Mysterion. Also, keeping in mind there's 3 minutes left on the clock, and Luke is currently down on life points.
But there is that forever scary. It's only 1,500 life points down, and that is something that Luke can make up for with the Heavy Borger that has just been special summoned here. Obviously now, I guess Mel's just thinking a little bit more on what the next next route is. Where do you think the next like big play is, with the Jowlong also being special summoned to the side of the field?
Yeah, so I feel we've still got the DRACOTAIL Horn, so if anything is of massive threat, we're going to try and return that back to the field.
Yep.
We still have the Mululu. Have we already used the Arfulion this turn?
I don't believe Arfulion has.
Turn. So we still have that to become a disruptive force, should we want to. Looks like we're going to be using this now. Do we go Gamel to destroy, or do we go Arfulion to return resource? Is going to be a very, very interesting choice here. So Luke's revealed the Dark for the Borger to draw a card. So that gets rid of the burn. Maybe he didn't have the attributes to complete the burn. That might be the difference.
Do you think that was maybe a little bit premature there, just with the Gulamel coming down now, which it's going to kind of go unchecked maybe, unless there's another card Luke is holding on to.
Yeah, very good point. With Borger, it always gave you that option to stop that happening. So as we're building this, we are using the Gamel to trade off the Jowlong. then we're going into, I mean, so we're setting the Rahu, using Moodaloo to negate the Borga, which is really important because it now means that the Borga needs to leave the field and then enter the field of play again to be reactive. The Arfulion that's been summoned back from the graveyard will be banished when it leaves the field, unless it's used by overlay material by some magical way by Mel. 1 minute left on the clock, and I think Luke's going to scoop it there. I think he's seen it that he can't really get the final bit of burn on the Borgar without the right